Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Brown with Community Nights, and we are here to serve the community. Today, I have Dr. Smith, Superintendent of Hampton City Schools, and we're going to talk about how the COVID-19 crisis has impacted the school system. Hi, Dr. Smith.
Hi. Well, thanks for inviting us to join you, and I appreciate the opportunity.
We are so happy to have you with us today. So first, I wanted to start off with talking about, given the health crisis, how has Hampton City Schools ensured the continuity of learning?
Yeah, that's a good question, and let me start with the fact, in terms of responding to that question, to say that in during the 14-15 school year, in particular, the school board and city council here in Hampton made what I consider to be a very wise investment during the 2014-15 school year. And that was a $2 million investment in a one-to-one program. And so with that, we were able to offer young people a device, a technology device, one-to-one. And now it's from grades 5 through 12th grade. So 5 through 12, our learners have a device. So we've been able to pivot in that direction. But I'll also say, you will recall that probably in the 15-16 school year, we talked about a systems approach. And I said to the staff that it was so important for us to have a system in place, that we would have a systems approach with a guaranteed viable curriculum, with strategies and interventions built into the curriculum, so that we could say to all of our families that indeed we have in place a guaranteed viable curriculum with strategies and interventions already embedded in the curriculum. So we were able to build and revise over 200 curricula before we got into this time of a health crisis. So that has allowed us, in terms of providing a very strong foundation, when you look at our one-to-one initiative and our curriculum with strategies, to then pivot to providing alternative learning plans. So our core mission of academic excellence, for every child, every day, whatever it takes, it's still our mission. But when we talk about the continuity of learning, we have had to pivot and make adjustments, and we have been able to do that still with some challenges, but also recognizing that we had some important pieces in place and aspects in place that made it somewhat seamless, still with some challenges.
There are other services that you provide for students that I know we were talking about briefly before we started, that you're still providing for families as well, such as you're providing food for families. Did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up. So we have 5 alternative meal sites, and as of I think beginning of this week, end of last week, we had served close to 35,000 meals to young people. And that's pretty significant. And I really want to take the opportunity to give a shout out to our teachers and staff in general, and certainly members of the team across all levels for the hard work. But I also want to highlight our members of the team in terms of child nutritional services. They have been on the front line serving students and young people and making a significant difference. And so I really want to give a shout out to them. It's an absolute, you can't get to, it's critical because you can't get to what we call the core business of teaching and learning in terms of the content, without also recognizing that you have the importance in terms of social and emotional learning. Mm-hmm. And individuals have said Maslow before Bloom, to make certain that we're taking care of the needs of our young people. So that it is critically important, and I'm so proud of the members of our team who have been engaged on the front line in doing so.
Well, and in so many ways, schools really aren't closed. Schools are open in a different way. And I think it's important that we realize that. So
They are.
how are you keeping families and students informed?
We're using multiple vehicles. Of course, we have the social media that we use, and so many members of our family, members of the families that we serve, they stay connected with us through social media, our website. But we have also been very intentional in keeping families informed. For example, we have launched at least to date 5 frequently asked questions, FAQs.
Hmm.
We're finding that those FAQs have been quite helpful. We try to anticipate. We also take the questions that we receive from parents, whether it's through, Facebook post on the private side. Sometimes they private message us. We have a technology hotline. And so if there are specific questions that parents or family members might have, or students, we then formulate that into questions for our general population in terms of all of our families and students. And I will tell you that I'm very proud of our work in that regard as well. We have spent many late nights developing FAQs and launching those FAQs to ensure that we're keeping students and families informed.
Have you communicated to families the division's expectations for the remainder of the school year? Because there's such uncertainty right now.
We have, and so we have communicated to families, for example, when you think of pre-K through 8th grade, what those expectations are with the alternative learning package, the expectation in terms of how teachers will communicate, the ways that they will communicate with young people, students and families. Um, we have also, in credit-bearing courses, shared and provided what the options are as it relates to the grades there. And they know in the FAQ the options that are available, whether you are going to, whether it's a letter grade, whether you're going to get at this particular time a pass, and those particular options in credit-bearing courses. And so there are a lot of options that we have made available to families. We have set the expectation that all schools would have a student success and achievement champion team. Now, what's meant by that? Whether it's grade level or school-wide, that an administrator, whether principal or assistant principal, school counselor, and resource teachers would serve on those champion teams to ensure that we're connecting with young people, families, that we understand what the needs might be and how we as a school division can best address those particular needs. So there is the expectation that we have student success and achievement champion teams. So it may be a champion team at the elementary level, kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, or it may be a K2 champion team, and then a 3-5.
So as we
I'm giving you
continue,
some long responses, so I
that is
apologize.
total. No, I love
I
it
have a lot
because
to say, so,
it's
and you're catching me on a Thursday as well.
this is not a small crisis, and it's an awful lot for us to
It's
get our
not.
arms around. And as we move forward, there's lessons to learn, and there's things that we are going to need to address this crisis as we're moving forward through it. And it would be nice to know what Hampton City Schools needs. What's your ask from organizations like Community Nights? What can we do to help? What can the public do to help? How can we work together as a community to make sure that our students are successful, because our children are our key to our future?
They are. They are. It's an important question. So let me start. I will start here on the social and emotional side of the ledger, because you have the academics, but also the social and emotional learning. And so I want to start by just saying, I think encouraging words of support for our young people. Let's start there. And I know that we have members of the community already doing that, and family members and so forth. Certainly the school board and city council and the leadership on the city side and the school division side, from our teachers and support staff. We're encouraging our young people and trying to really support them on the social and emotional side, because this is going to create some new norms for us. And it's a major disruption in terms of the crisis, but there will be some new norms. So I would ask there first, that's an important ask, that individuals would know that we're all in this together, and how we can support one another, whether it's just a kind word in the forefront. The second thing, obviously, on the structural side, as I mentioned about the one-to-one investment, the $2 million investment during the 14-15 school year. So we want to expand that and to go from now grades 5 through 12th grade now to go K through 12th grade. So we have kindergarten through 4th grade. That is a priority, one-to-one, the device, and purchasing additional Chromebooks there. We have participated with the Sprint, I think it's the Sprint Project Foundation, where we as a school division have been able to provide now 900 hotspots, Wi-Fi's, in terms of connectivity for young people. But that has been at the high school level. The focus has been there when you think of credit-bearing courses and so forth. So the ask would be to expand that important work, because equity around this work is very important to ensure that all of our young people and families have access and connectivity. I do believe, we have long said that technology was here to stay. And I will tell you that I think that this is one aspect of the disruption that will become a new norm. It will not replace what we do and the important work in the classroom. But we know that there will be somewhere down the road another crisis. There are lessons that we must learn from this situation now, and to make certain that we're prepared. One is to ensure that we're closing that connectivity in terms of technology gap. When we talk about the internet capability and access. So I think as a school division, we have been able to really address that. But again, when you look at the providers, I think that legislation around that at some particular point is going to be very critical and important to continue to push that forward. Meanwhile, I think, the hotspots that we provide families, I think that's a short term.
It's a stopgap.
It's a stopgap to what we need to ensure that we have in place long term. So that is an immediate ask for us, because we want to keep that in the forefront, and we know that is an area of need. And I want to thank members of your team for the great work that you continue to do and the contributions that you're making on a daily and weekly basis. You're helping to change the landscape in multiple ways. And so you're investing and giving back to the community, and we certainly, we're grateful for it. And our young people, they have been impacted by your generosity, and I want to thank you for doing so.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. We appreciate it. It's what we strive to do, bringing public schools, nonprofits, and the community together to create a truly inclusive community. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us today. We appreciate it so very much, and look forward to amazing things continuing to happen in Hampton City Schools.
Thank you. As you know, it's about all learners and making a difference for all children. So thank you.